Hey, what's up, guys? We are going to start learning about speed and acceleration. This lesson will focus mostly just on speed, and it has a worksheet and a quiz that goes along with that. And the next lesson will be the same, but with acceleration. The reason that we're doing this is our next learning goal. We need to be able to use Newton's second law to analyze force, mass, and acceleration of different objects. We've learned about forces already. You guys already know what mass is, but acceleration we haven't covered yet. In order to understand acceleration, first we need to take a look at speed and understand that. So for this, you are going to want to have something to write with, a piece of paper, and also a calculator. In science, whenever we do math problems that go along with our content, I want you guys using a calculator for your answers. The reason for that is I'm not so much concerned uh, that you know how to do the math part. I just want to know that you can set up a problem with information that I give you. So we're going to talk about this later on too, but that also means that when I say show your work in science class, it means something totally different than it does in math class. And we'll talk about that once we get into some of these problems. Okay, so like I said, today's lesson all about speed calculations. A lot of you might already be a little bit familiar with this, but the formula that we use to calculate speed is distance divided by time. So in order to find the speed of an object, you need to know the distance that it travels and the time that it takes to travel that distance. When we are measuring this or calculating speed, the standard units that you will see used for distance is meters, which is represented by a lowercase m, time, seconds, lowercase s, and then that gives us speed. Since it's distance divided by time, it's in meters per second, or m over s, m/s. There will be problems where you won't be given the units in meters or seconds, so just use the units of distance and time that you're given. But if possible, whenever you can, use meters and seconds, because when it comes time to use the Newton's second law formula, you would have to have your units in the standard SI form in order for those formulas to work correctly. All right, so let's hop straight into an example here. So you hop on your bike and ride to your friend's house down the street. Your friend's house is 90 meters away from your house, and it takes you 30 seconds to get there. What is your speed during the bike ride? All right, here's what I mean by showing your work. Everything that you see pop up on the screen would be considered showing your work. So the first thing you want to do is write out your formula. You can abbreviate that. For speed equals distance over time, we can just write S equals D over T. And then we're going to plug in some values here. So distance, you'll notice that you see two numbers in that word problem. We have 90 meters and we have 30 seconds. And the distance there is 90 meters and our time is 30 seconds. So we'll plug in those numbers. So S equals 90 meters divided by 30 seconds. Here's where you would pull out your calculator. So if you're like me, you might just be using your phone. Maybe you have like a scientific or mathematic calculator. Either way, you're going to type it in as 90 divided by 30. So I type in the number 90 first, then hit the division symbol, and then type in 30. And you should see that comes out to equal 3. And our units, again, since we're taking meters and dividing them by seconds, our units are meters per second, or m/s. So your final answer there would be 3 meters per second. To go along with showing your work, we always want to circle our final answer, just to show, so it's easy for me to grade and to see what your final answer on a problem was. So everything, I'm going to put a box in here right now. That green box that just popped up, everything that's in that box is what I want to see when I say show your work. So write out the formula, plug in your values that you take from the problem, and then circle your final answer. Let's do one more speed calculation here. So this would be an example where you don't have meters and seconds. Your family takes a trip to the Lake of the Ozarks, which is 178 miles from your house. It takes your family 2 hours and 45 minutes to get there. That would be 2.75 hours. What was your speed during the trip? So if you want to try this on your own, you can pause the video and then come back to this after I show you the answer, or after you get your answer to see if you got it correct. but if you need some extra practice, just follow along with me. First thing, write out your formula. S equals D divided by T. We have two numbers here, our distance, which is 178 miles, and our time, 2.75 hours. If you're ever given a problem where hours and minutes are separated, you'll always need to have those as one number. And since there's 60 minutes in an hour, 45 out of those 60 minutes would be 3/4 or 0.75, so 2.75 hours. What was your speed during the trip? So we take 178. This is where you would need your calculator again. Divide it by 2.75. That should give you about 64.7 miles per hour. And again, we were using our units were miles and hours here. So when we come to our final answer, it's going to be in miles per hour rather than meters per second. And we need to circle that because that is our final answer. And you guys can go ahead and move on to your homework now. So there's a speed worksheet that is on the same page as this video on Canvas. You can print that out, or you can just do all your work on a sheet of paper. That's fine. Just make sure you number each question. Make sure you show your work on each question, and make sure you circle your final answer with units. You are graded on effort and completion for these worksheets. I have an answer key that's already posted on the page on Canvas. But you know, like we always do, like I always tell you guys in class, if you're cheating off of the answer key, you're really only cheating yourself. So keep that in mind. Give it your honest best effort and check your answers after you're done. And as always, if you guys have any questions or need help with anything, feel free to email me or drop into our team Zoom Wednesdays at 10 a.m. See ya.